I'm excited to have you guys here again. I'm not like gonna try to sell you anything. I really just want to have a conversation and see if I can bring any value to you guys via surplus funds. Some of you, Bernie's actually in my program. I think the rest of you guys are not. I don't care. I'm not gonna say anything. But I just want to know, you guys hopped on. Before I start with doing like questions and stuff, I wanted to kind of just take a second. And you guys know who Grant Cardone is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You guys have heard of Grant Cardone? Okay, I'm a huge fan of Grant Cardone. If you guys have not read 2 books of his, I have one with me. He's got a book called Sell or Be Sold. If you guys are going to do real estate or surplus funds, I highly recommend that you read this book. Okay, I'm not affiliated with Grant Cardone. I just think this is a really good book. And the other book that we recommend actually in our program is it's called the 10X Rule. And that's just a really fundamental book that if you have the opportunity to read that, I highly recommend that you take whatever, a week and just read that book. So hopefully that'll bring some value to you guys. And then the only other thing I wanted to say was, and I don't know what questions you guys have and like that. I want this to be a lot of Q&A. But the big thing I can say for any real estate-based business when you're first getting started, whether it's surplus funds, wholesaling, I don't know what you guys do, but whatever it is, the key is to get on the phone and make calls. So if you're like, I need to get started, I'm having trouble, just make more calls. Getting calls and stuff, that's the hardest part, but once you get that down to a science, you can figure everything else out. And so that's my best advice. Does that kind of make sense, guys?
Sure. Yep.
Okay, awesome. But let's just do Q&A then, I guess. I don't know, whoever wants to go first can go. It's kind of up to you guys.
I wanted to ask about the 10 calls a day challenge or guarantee. What I find I'm already in the overage business. I'm already doing it in Connecticut and Florida.
Awesome.
The 10 calls a day, what I'm finding is that with search sites to skip trace like Spokio and Ben Verified, those are the 2 that I have subscriptions to right now.
Okay.
And what I find is sometimes they have 10 or 6 phone numbers for one person. And so when you say the 10 calls a day, is that calling and getting hold of trying to get a hold of one person, or literally 10 phone calls? Because I can go through 20 phone calls between that person's phone numbers, relatives listed, and even neighbors, and still not be able to reach anyone for days at a time.
Right. So we always say, when we say 10 calls, we obviously mean 10 people. Now you're totally right. With Spokio and a lot of those websites, you get like 10 phone numbers. It's kind of annoying, right?
Right.
And something that we're kind of going to be rolling out to, and since Bernie's in here, Bernie's going to get secret access to this early, is there's a website out there called TLO, I think it's TLOXP.com if I remember correctly. And TLOXP. And if it's not XP, just look up TLO on Google and it should come up. But they're owned by TransUnion, and they're like a very super accurate, information-based, sophisticated Spokio. And it's a process to get approved by them, and it's expensive. Like it's $1 per search, but their information is like 99% accurate. So if you get a phone number, you're gonna have like 1 or 2, and they're both accurate. So that's something, if you're a little bit more advanced, like you said, you're already doing business, that's something I would definitely look into.
So are they more up to date too? Because what I'm finding also with this, what I'm kind of surmising through this process, is that these people have been evicted. Right. Their properties have been auctioned off. They're evicted, and sites like Spokio and Ben Verified, they're not keeping those. They're not updating the information fast enough. Like those people are gone and they're not showing up yet, even 6 months out, because in some of the states that I'm doing, they have a 6-month redemption period. So 6 months later, Ben Verified and Spokio do not have new addresses and new phone numbers for these people. So I'm dead in the water.
Right. You know what I would say I'd recommend, and this is kind of funny, is again, well, first to answer your question, because you're talking about this TLO website. Again, they're a lot more accurate. So we've had a lot better luck with them. But one issue you're gonna have is that it's not like Spokio. You don't just sign up for it and it's like you pay $30 and it's like, right. It's a process to get signed up. They do like a whole check on you, on everything. They have to know what you're doing with the information. It's a process. So just know that going in. But if you can get approved, that information is much more accurate, much more valuable than a Spokio or something like that. But again, it's more expensive and it's a process. So just keep that in mind. But one kind of trick, if you're going to stick with Spokio and those websites that I like to use, I kind of found this by accident. I had a deal that we did a while back, and I don't remember the exact name, but the guy I was looking for him was Sergio. And I'm here in Orange County, California. The deal was in LA, and there's a million Sergios in LA, and I think I have the right one. I got the last name, so I call him and I say, hey, did you used to live at, whatever, 123 Main Street? He says, yeah, I did. I said, also, I think you owed some funds, blah, blah, blah. And he says, I used to live there. I think you mean my dad. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, Sergio, you're Sergio. Like, no, my dad has the same name as me.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it was funny, but it kind of rang the doorbell for me of like, I could, if I can't find the exact current address of that person, maybe I could just contact their son, their daughter, their brother, their sister, and in kind of a loop around way, work with them. And here's the thing that I figured out about that is if you become, if I call the sister of a claimant, and that sister she loves me, she's excited to work with me, and then that sister introduces me to him or her or whoever it is, they're much more likely to work with me because they've now, a family member's introduced me. So it's kind of a trick for you.
Right. No, I have been doing that because with the sites that I have been using, they have relatives and even neighbors. So, yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Let's kind of cycle around, and we'll come back. We'll do more questions for Margox. Let's see here. Anybody else got questions? How you doing?
Spencer, this is Bernie.
Hey, Bernie. How you doing?
Okay. When you say this TLO website, they have to check you out and it's a process. If we're just starting out and, for example, I've just applied for a trade name and so forth, does that work against you? Are they looking for established entities, or what exactly do they do to check you out?
It's kind of a whole ridiculous process because we went through it and it was silly. First thing is you got to go and you have to apply on their website. They won't tell you the pricing before you apply. I'll tell you, at least they quoted us at $1 per search. Okay. So then when you apply, you got to do a phone interview, and then you have to submit a bunch of business documents. And so if you're just getting established, I would hold off, and I would get a deal the traditional way. It might take a little bit longer, but use the Spokio, use the truthfinder.org, whatever it is, and get a deal that way. And then now you have some extra capital, and you can spend the time trying to get the more accurate information. And you can actually have some business. So that's probably what I would do to answer your question.
Does Spokio have different packages, or is it just one package?
I think they have a couple different ones. The one that we had for a while was like the commercial package, and we got like 200 or 300 searches a month, or I can't remember exactly what it was. But I think there's a couple different ones, and someone on here is probably going to be better at answering that than I am. But yeah.
Okay. And on the call the other night with David, he said that he was close to, I guess, making arrangements with a law firm.
Yes. Yeah.
In addition to Thomas.
Yeah, we love Thomas at this point. Like, a lot of our a lot of our students have brought deals to him, and unfortunately, Thomas runs his own business. He's got his own law firm, and then plus he's doing his own surplus funds, and he's not helping us out, and he's just too busy. And so we've kind of established a more professional and better law firm that we're going to work with. But, not that Thomas doesn't work; he does. That way. And the other cool thing too is that we're going to start sending out weekly emails. So if you bring that law firm a deal, they're going to send you an email every single week with the exact status. That way you can forward it to your client, and nobody's in the dark. So that's kind of our goal there.
Will you be adding the paperwork that they want us to use to the website?
Yeah, that'll be added by the end of this weekend. So very, very, very soon. Okay.
What are the fees for these lawyers?
So Thomas is kind of a weird range. He's got, it depends on the amount. It's very different, but it's between 5 and 10%. And then the new attorney will be a flat fee of 5% with a minimum of 3,000. So depending on where you're at, but anything above what 15-ish thousand. Or excuse me. I can't do that math now. I'm tired. But you know what I mean. So yeah, minimum 3,000, and then and flat.
Thank you. The lists that you provide,
Yeah.
do they include encumbrances, like giving us the knowledge of encumbrances? And if they don't have the encumbrances added, how do we find out about encumbrances when we're going after the claim?
Yeah, that's a great question. So surplus list right now does not. What we do have is we have the for most of our leads, we don't have full of them, but we actually have the documents of the foreclosure on there. You can look through those. What I would recommend you do is once you have a deal, if you have it under contract, I would go and I'd do a quick title search. I don't know if you have the availability to do that. And usually on a title search, you'll be able to see, okay, boom, not only did they have this loan on it, they had this second, and they took out, this, and they're the homeowners and all this stuff, and then that's a red flag. Or, no, there's just this one loan or whatever. But that's what I usually recommend.
So you actually run title searches as opposed to like calling a county courthouse or a county clerk to inquire if one has come forward for claiming? Because in some of the other states that I work in too, there's a certain amount of time, a time frame for those encumbrances to come forward and claim. And once that time frame expires, they can no longer, they forfeit it forever.
Right. California's a little different. So we're talking about two separate, I think we're talking about two separate things. I'm talking about if there's other, there's another loan on the property. You're talking about if something else recovered the funds? Like another?
No, not quite. Encumbrances, the way I define encumbrances are any liens, mortgages, and so on the property. And those encumbrances, those entities, in other states, they have a certain amount of time. In Florida, as of October 1st, for example, they have 90 days to come forward and put in a claim. If they don't file a claim within 90 days, they are forever forfeiting the ability to go in and get their money from that overage, that surplus. So I'm just wondering, okay, so you have already answered my question that you don't list encumbrances on the list. So how do we find out what encumbrances there are on the property, and if and when those are claimed, to know what the excess really is for us to be able to go after in behalf of the claimant?
Right. Again, what I would recommend that you do is I would recommend that you run a title search. Now, it sounds like you said are you actively calling local courthouses and clerks and trying to figure this out?
Yeah, in Connecticut, that's what I do. I have to call the local superior courthouses. Yes. Usually
what we do is anytime we get a deal under contract, we'll immediately run a title search for it. And if we see like, oh, this guy had 6 loans on this property, that's kind of a red flag for us. And we'll still, we'll go a little deeper and then we'll call maybe and figure things out. But I don't know. I mean, unless you love calling people, I usually don't like to call unless, I'm not sure. But if I can figure out and say, you know what, boom, look at this guy only had 1 loan on record. I'm 99% sure that this is his surplus fund amount around this amount, that I won't call. And usually David handles that. So, yeah. But interesting question.
Do you recommend a website through which you run the title searches?
Yeah, there's a couple different ones. We have a title rep over at First Team, so that's where we do all of ours. If you do not have that, a website that I recommend, you guys ever heard of Agent Pro 24/7? Anybody? If you have not, Agent Pro 24/7 is a website that they have a lot of good information on there. I think it's like $30 a month for 20 profiles, so probably more than that. But they have some good stuff. I think the best way to do it is just to get a title rep if you know somebody. Now, are you somebody that's been in real estate before and you've transitioned to this, or is this a new venture, or where?
Yeah, no, I've transitioned. I've done flipping. I have apartment buildings in Connecticut that I own, and I've transitioned into this.
Awesome. Okay, so you know what's going on. So.
Can I get in a question?
All the questions.
Could I get in a question?
Of course, what's going on?
I'd like to find out what's the difference between you and Sean Bouge's Surplus Fund Riches. What is your program different from his? How's that different?
Well, you know, what's funny is I've watched some of Sean's videos. You know, I've never gone through his course. All I can say is that this is what I know. What we do works, obviously. We've had students go through it that have been very successful. I'm not going to bash anybody else's program. You know, and he seems like a nice guy. I don't know. I don't know how to do surplus funds. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do they do specifically tax funds, or do they do any type of surplus funds?
I think they do both. They
Okay.
do both. They both. Uh-huh.
So yeah, I don't know. Everybody's different. I'd say the one big difference is that we actually have the leads on our own site. Whereas I know like Sean and some of those other guys, like they make you go and find leads, which is a little silly to me. But again, I'm not gonna down talk anybody. I'm sure they're not.
So how much is your program?
Our program, if you want just the leads, or you want the full education program?
It's the full education.
The full education, there's two payment plans. There's a one-time of $997, or there's a three pay of $397. So you get on there right now and get access to everything. That includes the lawyers, contracts, leads for 3 months for free, 4 coaching calls, and the whole master class.
Okay.
And script. And script. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's see who else. What about Nick? Nick's been a little quiet. It's good. Nick, have any questions?
No questions. I think someone already asked the question. I was wondering about the encumbrances, and my question was pretty much the same. Like, how do you know if the funds have already been paid out to someone else, and et cetera, et cetera. So I guess in California, do you know, can you get access to the court records? And because obviously the funds are deposited with the court, can you get access to those records and then be able to find out if it's been paid out or not? Do you know?
Yeah, here's the thing about California. California is a great state to do this in almost every single way, except for knowing the exact amount of surplus funds. So in California, the level of commission you can take is great. The extensions are great. Like I know, is it Margox or is it, how do you pronounce it?
It's pronounced Margot.
Margot, I'm sorry. As Margot was saying, you know, in where you're doing surplus funds, there's a 6 month where the encumbrances can come in. And I know that in Arizona, we had a student in Arizona, Rick. He's been killing it in surplus funds in Arizona. And Arizona is great for knowing things. The problem with Arizona is the most you can take, according to Rick, is $2,500 per commission or per fund, which is really depressing. So California is great, except for the fact that it's very difficult to find out extremely accurate information. So the short answer to your question is no. If you're a certified foreclosure consultant in the state of California, you usually can, but again, that's a whole process. And so usually you need an attorney to find out the exact amount is what I found in California.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just curious about that. I know in my state, it's easy for me just to go to the courthouse and see, okay, there's this many mortgages, this many liens, and oh, it's already been paid out. So I was wondering if I could do the same in California, but
yeah,
no worries.
No, absolutely, Nick. I appreciate it. Let's see, who's on? Who hasn't? Does John have any questions? I don't want to leave John out. Or John looks like he's driving. I don't want John to crash. I don't know if John, can you hear me, John?
Yes.
Okay, John, do you have any questions? I don't know if you get a question.
No, I'm driving. I'm to listen in and not getting a wreck.
Okay, all right, no worries, John. Okay, then if anyone else, Marco, if you got another question, or Mark just hopped on. Mark's got a question. Bernie, anybody? Rochelle?
I got another question for you. Okay, I have a SOTA report. Can that work with your program?
You have a what?
A SOTA report.
A solder report.
SOTA, S-O-D-A.
Oh, a
SOTA report, yeah.
Well, a SOTA report in what location is it?
It's in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough. You know what? Let me write that down. I'd have to ask David for that. I'm not actually sure.
Okay.
What's your email, Rochelle? Let me ask him and write you back.
Okay. Okay. My email is Rochelle, ROCHELLE, JORDAN7@gmail.com.
Awesome. Okay. And you said you have a soda report and
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Let me ask him. He would know that.
Okay.
More than I would. But I apologize for not having an answer for you.
That's okay. That's okay.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Who else? If anyone's got a question, or Rochelle, you got another one, feel free. If anyone else has got one.
Okay. Oh, I just need the your I can't even think of it. Your website to sign up. Your website.
What?
You can send that on my email.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Let's see here. Is Mark? Can Mark hear me? I want to make sure Mark can hear me. I don't know if Mark can hear me. That's something. Uh-oh. All right, no Mark. Mark can't hear me. Well, in that case, if no one's got questions, I'm gonna continue on my rant of books that you guys should read. Have you guys ever heard of the book How to Win Friends and Influence People? One of the fundamental books. And,
I think I read that in 7th grade.
okay, you should read it again. I highly recommend it. I know it's one of those, like, it's like recommending Think and Grow Rich. Everybody has probably read that book. But again, if you're going to do this business, and if you're going to be in real estate at all, and you're going to be on the phone talking to people, stuff like that I think is super important. And the other thing I think I want to talk about too, and if someone's got a question, please cut me off, is consistency. I think, and Margot, actually, let me ask Margot since she's
Yeah.
doing this business a little bit. How long have you been doing surplus funding?
I went to a 4-day workshop
Okay.
last January.
Sure.
I didn't get started on right away. I formed my LLC and did a website and had some family things going on. But I would say that I've been pretty active in the last 3 months.
Okay. And so I know you've been doing that, and I know you've been doing real estate too. So would you say that from a 1 to 10, 10 being the most important, how important is consistency?
Oh, extremely. You really have to. At first, I was very, very overwhelmed with all the steps because, I've been taught, get your lists and then skip trace and then make your phone calls and then, go back and do your follow-up phone calls while you're still always getting more lists and always skip tracing and always calling and doing your follow-up calls. So it can be kind of overwhelming until you can get a rhythm and do some really good time management.
Absolutely. And that's why, like we always say, and Margot, you brought this up earlier, I think the best thing for you guys to do if you guys are just getting started with this, and again, this is free advice, just make those 10 contacts per day. It doesn't have to be 100. It doesn't have to be, a million. Just do 10 per day, 5 days a week, and spend your Saturdays collecting all the data so you can just go through your calls really quick Monday through Friday. And that is the quickest way to do it because people, I used to have this problem too. I like to dive head into things, and that's great, do that. But still, you got to take steps sometimes because I know sometimes when I dive into things, I would get overwhelmed really fast and then I dive back out. You don't want to be that, guy or gal. So if you're going to commit to it, just commit to it with baby steps. Do 10 calls or 10 contacts in your first month, get a deal, and then go from there. And then, if you guys are working a full-time job, then, as you're getting more and more deals, you can kind of put that aside and retire from that, which is the ultimate goal, right? And then go all in on this. So that's kind of, I think, the biggest advice I can say, and it's kind of what I said earlier at the very beginning of this call with just making those calls is just the most important part. Like, making your LLC is great, setting your business is great, using TLO versus Spokio, like all those are great questions. I want to answer those questions for you guys, but the first problem you got to solve is just how do I make those calls? So hopefully that helps. Let me turn on the light real quick, guys. Hopefully that's a little better. All right.
Spencer, this is Bernie.
Hey, Bernie.
Is there a particular time of the day you found more effective as far as getting actually able to talk to someone?
Yes, there is, Bernie. There's 2 times of the day, but before I tell you this, I'm very, very scared. I'm very scared to give you my answer. So let me ask you a question, and then I'll tell you the answer. Okay? How many calls are you averaging right now per day, honestly?
I haven't started yet.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you the answer, but just know that whatever schedule time works for you, just do that, right? Just make the calls. But the best times typically I find are either lunchtime, about 12, anywhere from 12 to about 1:32, or right after work. So 5 to 6, 4 to 5, somewhere around that time, or even maybe 6 to 7. I wouldn't go any later than 8. Okay, 8's a little late. But again, if you're like, I work at night or I work at lunch, like just do whatever time you can do. That's the best thing. It's just to make the call. So yeah, there you go.
And I noticed on the surplus list, a lot of times I'll see the same name popping up multiple times with different dollar amounts.
Yeah. Usually that is because, as Margot brought up, we don't have a very sophisticated way of showing those multiple potential lien holders on that property. But usually that's a red flag for saying, uh-oh, maybe Peter for this property had multiple liens. So that's usually when you want to go and be like, if I get this under contract, I need to do a title search. But that's usually what that means.
Okay, thanks.
Maggie, how you doing, Maggie? I don't know if Maggie can hear me.
How, when we get the list, how much more research is involved, you know, beyond just getting your list? Like okay, so I get your list. How much more research do I need to do on that given list before I can just start picking up the phone and calling people?
So the list includes the trustee, the trustor, the address that the property that was foreclosed on is located. And then, again, most of the time, actually, we have the documents for the actual foreclosure. So really all you need to do is just take the name of the claimant, throw it into your Spokio, your TLO, whatever it is you decide to use, and search it up, and then you'll get the phone number. So that's pretty much it. Again, once you get it under contract, if you do a quick title search, that's a great idea. But yeah, so Stephanie, what's going on?
So one thing real quick, on Saturday, we're taking from the corporate office to the airport. That means we have to try, I guess we're just gonna Uber, huh? Uber all our luggage over there.
Yeah.
Because we have to check out here by 11, I think.
Yes, we're gonna have to check out really early.
Yeah, and just Uber our stuff over there for the rest of the week.
Is Maggie talking to me or is Maggie talking to you?
Somewhere that they have a place they can store bags. I wasn't sure if they meant the hotel or.
I don't know if Maggie was talking to me, so. We have a bunch of people in here. What's going on, Maggie? We have 11 people. Let's do some roll call. We got Bernie. Bernie said hello. We got John, Margot. We got Nick. You called in. Bridget, Maggie, Rochelle, Stephanie. We got Usher. Usher's in the building. Oh my gosh. We got Byron. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's see here. Who's got a question now? I want to do. We only got like. I'm getting kicked off here in 6 minutes, so we got 6 minutes to go, guys. Who's got a question?
I have a question, Spencer. This is Stephanie.
Hit me, Stephanie.
Okay, so I had one more deal left over at Thomas. You know, is he gonna finish up those last ones, or do I need to check, or how do I need to take care of that?
So you have it signed and already sent over to Thomas?
Yeah, I just had that particular one, so that's why I said that. And the guy that I did it for, he's been asking me what's the status, and so I haven't gave him an update as of yet, but I probably need to give one this week to keep him in the loop.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. No, if you already sent it over to Thomas, Thomas will take care of you.
No, it's already over to Thomas. It's been there like a couple of weeks, and so I need to get the update for that particular customer. So I can't take it back and route it to another attorney, or can I? But that'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would be a little crazy. Yeah, no, I mean, you should be fine. Just I would reach out to Thomas, ask what's going on, give him a phone call, and then, you know, I would then, you know, your customer, your client, or whatever. But yeah, no, as long as Thomas already has it, I mean, Thomas will take care of you. Again, the one thing that we didn't like that much about Thomas, he's great, he'll take care of you. But again, he's so busy, his communication's a little iffy sometimes. Why we went the other way, but there's no issues. We just, you know, it's just a business decision.
Yeah. So the best way probably send them an email trying to check on that last particular deal, and then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll just shoot him an email or a call, or, you know, whatever you prefer, and go from there.
Okay. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. All right, let's see here. Who else? Guys, we only have 4 minutes left, and there's 11 of you. There's 11 of you guys. I want to make sure everyone has a chance to get one question in. So if you guys have not asked a question yet, and you guys are shy, I will open up my chat. You guys can leave one in the chat. If John, I know John's driving. I don't want John to get in a wreck, but if John has a question, John can ask. But we got 4 minutes left, and I just want to make sure everybody gets a question in. I don't want anyone to feel like, damn, I didn't get a question. So this is your chance. This is your one shot. Let's see here.
That's buzz cut, Donnie.
Let's see.
He needs like a 1/4 inch of hair. Yeah, that's why he needs like a little covering.
All right, guys. Hey, Spencer, I'm David's virtual assistant. David, as in my business partner, David? I didn't know he had this is news to me. He has a virtual assistant, and his name is Usher. That's kind of cool. I feel like I'm getting pranked. All right, let's see here. Well, if you got a question, Usher, I'd be happy to answer you. Let's see here. Stephanie.
If nobody else wants to ask one, I have one.
Go ahead, Margo. Go ahead.
Yeah, what exactly needs to be done and handed over to your attorney? So you're talking about, like, you know, getting somebody under contract and then running a title search. Would not Attorney Thomas do the title search, or do I have to do that prior to handing over? So what are the things that I need to have handed over for the attorney to take over?
So again, I'm answering the question. What you would need to do is you would need to have the contracts that are in the program filled out and sent over. And we, again, because I don't know, I mean, you probably know a couple of real estate attorneys. I know a couple of real estate attorneys. I know some other attorneys, different types of attorneys. Attorneys do not like wasting time, because attorneys, a lot of them, will get paid by the hour, and they get paid a lot by the hour, right? Like $400 an hour, okay?
Yes.
And so for them to take 20 minutes or 10 minutes to go and search about a title search, they'll do it for you. And they're nice enough because they won't charge you, because, you know, there are attorneys and they work with us and all that. But it's just, we always like to practice to go run the title search first, double check. I always ask too on my second or third phone call, hey, I just want to make sure, you know, it's not an issue. You just need to know ahead of time. Do you know if there were any, you know, encumbrances or any other liens on the property? It's not a major issue. We just, you know, we would like to know ahead of time. So that's usually what I like to do. But as far as what you actually need to turn in, it's just the contract.
Okay.
We've got less than a minute, guys. Oh no, this is so sad. Usher. All right, Usher. He wants to learn more about service. Awesome, Usher. Again, I didn't know David had a personal virtual assistant. So that's kind of exciting. Thank you guys very much for being on here. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully this wasn't a big waste of time. So
Thanks, Spencer.
Hey, thank you, Birdie. Thank you, guys. Have a good one, everybody. I'm gonna, as this is recorded, I'm gonna throw it on YouTube. I'm gonna email out the link. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. Have a good one.
Bye.